All right, so good evening, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome to a private training session with the money mantra. I will be doing this Mondays and Thursdays at 8 o'clock p.m. It will be a little bit more fast paced than the traditional training sessions because the purpose of these sessions are to teach you, but also move at a little bit more quicker pace so that we are getting some trade ideas in there. If you guys do want more training specifically, you can, of course, go to the YouTube channel where all of the rest of the videos are. You can subscribe, you can hit the notification bell, and you will never miss anything that I post. Or you can also catch me live Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock p.m. when I'm doing those trainings. If you are a student within I Am Mastery Academy, you also have the option to tap into your pre-recorded go live sessions or find a schedule that really works for you so that you can make sure that you are getting this money. But I'm free Mondays and Thursdays at 8. So that's when we're going to come in here and learn and get some money. So the broker we're going to be using today is pocketoption.com. That's what I'm going to be using. But of course, if you are trading HFX, you may be using something else, and that's perfectly fine. As long as you're able to get into the buy and the sells, as long as your trade ideas are in the same price area, you'll be fine. So that's nothing to stress or worry about. Now, today, I'm going to be getting my trade ideas from the Gold Liberty Scanner, which is a product at I Am Mastery Academy. You can use a lot of different things, but this is what I choose to use because it's super simple. It's super simple. It comes preloaded with about 4 strategies that you can easily look at the charts to see what is the best opportunity for you to get into that either buy or sell trade idea. So this is how it looks. You will just go to goldliberty.im. You will use your same I Am Academy login, and it will take you to the screen. So before we actually get started, I'm just going to check the news per usual. This is a step that I really don't like to skip. I believe it is no, NFP week was last week, so we should be good. So when I'm looking at forexfactory.com, I'm just going to briefly be checking the time that we're trading. It's around 8 o'clock p.m. So we don't have any news around that time. That's great. I'm also going to be checking the currency pairs and just to see what color the folders are, because that's really my first indicator as to whether I'm going to be buying or selling in this market. So I just always like to do a quick demonstration for anybody. This may be your first time watching a training session or even looking at a Forex chart. So I want you to know what we're going to be doing and how this actually works. So I'm going to use this first page to demonstrate. So up here, we have Euro USD, which is the Euro versus the United States dollar, right? This is GBP USD, which is the Great British Pound versus the United States dollar. We have the United States dollar versus the Japanese yen, the United States dollar versus the Swiss franc, the United States dollar versus the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar versus the United States dollar, New Zealand dollar versus the United States dollar, and the Great British Pound versus the Japanese yen. Now, these are just a few different currency pairs that you could get into if you choose that. If you choose that currency pairs are going to be your what you're trading in the forex market, right? Because there's a lot of different things that you could trade, but in this session, we are going to be focusing on currency pairs. Now, even though these are different currency pairs, all of the markets, right? This is just a small snippet of what the market looks like, right? It's showing you different places where the market is buying or selling. So I'm just going to draw on this to demonstrate. Typically, when a market reaches a low point like this, and you don't see any candle activity below that point, you would call that an area of support, right? And it's okay if several candles touch that area or you don't see anything else below that line. That's actually a great thing. You know, it's a good place to buy because every time the market sold down, right, from this area, which you don't see any candle activity above, you know that this is a great place to sell. So this is what the market is doing. No matter which market it is, you'll have a buying zone, right? The buyers will push the price up, up, up. It'll hit a resistance zone. It'll sell, right? Each of these candles is a different selling period. It'll sell, sell, sell. It'll hit the buy zone. It'll come back up. Of course, the buyers will push the price up. And you'll notice this in every single market. There's going to be an area of resistance, right? Several areas of resistance. And there's going to be several areas of support. But no matter which way you look at it, you're always going to get that MWV pattern, no matter what, right? And these points, right, the sharp points that you see, once you're able to identify that pattern, that's how you're actually going to know if you're buying or selling on that trade, right? So now we know how the market moves, right? It's always going to be that pattern no matter what. So when I'm looking at my folders as an indicator, if I see a yellow folder, right, I know I have a clear area of resistance, right? I don't see anything above that point. And I have a clear area of support. I don't see anything below that point, right? So we got some market movement. Pretty standard, pretty basic. That's what we like to see. Now, if we would have seen an orange folder, right, because the folders can be yellow, orange, or red. For example, we have a red folder there. If we would have an orange folder, we would have, of course, areas of resistance, areas of support. But this pattern will break out of structure more. So let's just say you thought you were going to buy here, right? Because we have a lot of different times that the market bought there, but then it actually drops down here, right? So now this is good. You actually have a second entry point. But if you're a new trader, you want your trades to be a little bit more predictable. So you want to look for more stable movement like that. And the red folder is going to be one of the most unpredictable ones. You'll have your high level of resistance, you'll have your low level of support, but the market will consistently break out of that pattern, consistently creating new highs and new lows at different levels, right? That's unpredictable. We want to know market's going to open here, right? We want to know it's going to drop, and we want to know it's going to buy right there. We don't want to have to keep guessing every single time what the market is doing. So pretty much if you see a red folder, it is something that you want to avoid unless you are more patient, you're a more patient trader. You can wait for those perfect opportunities. You take more time marking up your charts, but if you're not going to do those things, avoid red folders. So the next thing that I still like to check is the live charts. Live charts currency strength meter. I don't know why this isn't, everything is just acting crazy today. But the currency strength meter pretty much gives us a little bit more insight as to how the currency pairs are moving at that time as well. We can't check it right now. I don't know. They're saying it's unsecure. I don't know. So we're just going to come to our Liberty scanner. Now, actually, let's go to pocket option first. So after you check the news, you want to head over to your broker, make sure you're on currencies, and you want to choose the currency pair that you're going to be trading. So of course, we have the Australian dollar versus the Canadian dollar versus the Japanese dollar, the euro versus the Great British Pound versus USD, and then USD JPY. So as long as it's above 70%, right? So these are our options for tonight. And as long as it does not say OTC, then you're pretty much okay to trade it. Now, OTC pairs are very unpredictable. They move really fast. You won't be able to actually find entry points for them on your scanner. You can definitely try your luck, but it's not something that I would recommend. So if you see that a currency pair has OTC next to it, this typically happens when the market closes daily from 5 to 6. And you'll also see it on the weekends because the market is not open at all, right? So if you guys are following along so far, we know how to check the news and how to select a currency pair. Just go ahead and drop some threes in the chat. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, Margaret. So here we go. So we're going to choose, I'm just going to start with AUDCAD. No particular reason. I just like to start from the top of the list and work my way down. Also, for people, this may be your first time trading. Before we actually get into the trade ideas and what we're going to be looking for and how we're going to be doing this, make sure, again, you choose your right currency pair. You want to make sure that you can see this flag. If you don't see this flag and you see the clock, just click on the clock because you want to be able to select how long you're going to stay in the trade. That's what I like about HFX. You have control over your profits. Essentially, if you get your analysis correct, all you have to do is, you choose everything. So you can choose M1, which is being in the trade for 1 minute. You can choose M2, which is being in the trade for 2 minutes. You can choose M3, which is being in the trade for 3 minutes. Now, I do recommend 3-minute trades if you are, again, just learning and you want to be sure that the market is going to make that move. You don't want to do anything risky. You don't want to make any quick moves, but you trust your analysis, get into the trade for 3 minutes. Personally, I like to trade M1. You do have the option to put your settings at M1 as well, but again, that is up to you. The amount is how much you're going to be risking in the trade, and this is also how your profits are determined as well. For example, if I'm risking $100 in this trade and I chose a payout of 70%, if this trade goes in my favor, not only am I going to get my $100 back that I put into the trade, right, but I'm also going to gain a $70 profit. Now, if I lose this trade, I'm going to just lose my $100. So for example, let's just say I'm in this trade M1 and I click this red button, right? Because the red button is for the sell and the green button is for the buy. Now, as you can see, my balance was 3,482. Once I entered into the trade, it went down $100. Now, in order for me to make money from this trade, this blue dot, which represents where price is actively at and price is always moving, if this blue dot stays below this red line in the next 20 seconds, right, then I'm actually going to make a profit of $70 and you will see my balance increase. But because I got in for a sell, if the blue dot is above, right, my entry point, then I would just lose my $100 and you will see my balance stay at 3,482, right? So just like any other investment, it is going to be risky, and that is why the analysis that you do is important. So once everybody gets to AUD, CAD, just drop AC in the chat. And then we're going to head over to the Liberty Scanner to start finding some trade ideas. All right, thank you. So here we go. So the Liberty Scanner, again, is a tool that you can use to help you look at the market a little bit easier. It is color coded, so you will mainly see two colors on the chart. Red represents a selling market, and if you see more red, right, then that's just letting you know that that's the trend, and you really want to trade on trend. You don't want to go against the grain if you don't have to. If you see more blue, right, here we see more red, so we know that's a selling market. But if you were to see more blue, right, you would know it was a buying market. Well, this market has been selling for a very long time. But this is a small example of a buy area, right? It was a lot of blue going on, but anyway, this strategy is called Web Slinger. And Web Slinger is really nice because you can just look at it and know what you're going to be focusing on automatically. So first and foremost, this will be the first strategy that you see when you log in. You want to choose your currency pair, which is AUD, CAD. To do that, you just click on the screen. And I'm going to start with the M5 analysis. Right? M5 analysis means that one of these candles is forming every minute. It means that I can look at the trend over a certain amount of time, set up those areas of support and resistance, and see where I'm going to buy at. Now, before I do that, I just want to let you guys know what all of these strategies have in common. And it's similar to what I drew on the Forex Factory. And I'll just start from here, right? You'll always have that selling point, right? That buying point, and you're pretty much just tracing the high points. You're tracing the high points and low points in the market, right? To find these entry points, right? So I see it's really low down there. Then it came up. Then it came down. Then it came up. Then it came down. Then it came up. Right? So once you're able to create that MW pattern, whether there's indicators or not, you already have a couple areas of support and resistance and where you could be buying and selling at, right? Because wherever you have these sharp points, that's telling you that the market, we don't see any candle activity above that. The market couldn't go up any higher, right? So price, of course, had to sell right there. And then we had a bunch of selling action, right? We see right here, price couldn't go below this point. And then we had some buying action, right? And then it bought, right? You could create smaller lines as well, right? So then price went up. And if you put your horizontal lines on the chart, which I highly recommend. This is a part of marking up your charts, right? And again, the more time you take to do this, the higher chance you have at actually clearing your trades, right? And I'm literally only putting these lines where I have these sharp points. If that makes sense, guys, just drop some threes in the chat. All right, thank you. Right, because once we're able to identify that pattern, and I'm just going to go ahead and erase it off the screen. Once we're able to identify that pattern, right, we already have our selling and buying points. We just have to look at our indicators to see if we're actually going to take that trade idea, right? So this is the web slinger, right? We have a few different entry points, but when you're trading, of course, you want to focus on the most current candle, right? Now, you want to set this up simply because we know that if the market continues to go up, right, then we would have a new area of resistance being created, right? And it looked like it's pushing up a lot, right? We would have a new area of resistance created. So you can see this, they already broke past this resistance. We can see that, and we can zoom out and see if the market has gotten to that point before, right, in the past. So let's put another horizontal line. And let's see what's a selling point we had before. Because remember, you can draw this pattern. You can make this market as small as you want and draw this pattern as much as you want. Because I can draw it again, right? Starting from here. And we're going to have the same thing, right? This was a buying area before. So price could push up. But we also know that it was also a resistance area before, right? And it's okay to use the past for your analysis. But when you get into the trade, we're only focused on this most current candle. Right? So based on this past action, right, we could either get in for a sell around, I would say 0.55 or higher, right? Because previously in the past, once the market got to that point, we can see, right, a clear descent, right, in price. We can see a clear drop in price from that point, 0.55. If you guys can see that, just drop some sevens in the chat. Right, how we're using the past entry point, right, based on our M's and W's, right, to find our entry point. So currently it looks like the market is at 0.33, right? Now, a lot of people are impatient. They would not wait for the market to push up, but we literally already saw that it has the potential to do that, right? We saw that it has the potential to do that. And we also can notice here on the web slinger that this, like I said, this strategy only has two indications, right? You have your cloud, right? And you have your web strings. Now, all these essentially are just different averages. And if something is above average, right, then it has the probability to continue going up, right? The average has the potential to continue to increase. So if you find that a blue candle, which is going to represent those buyers, is above all of these averages, right, that's letting you know that the market has a very high chance to continue to go up. So not only is it above the cloud, right, telling us that price is currently above trend, but it's also above every previous average, right? So it does have the possibility to go up because we see a lot of blue on this chart. But we know that if it goes up, it must come down, right? If it goes up, it must come down. So the next highest place that it has the possibility to reach will be around 0.55 or higher because that was a previous high, right? The market broke structure, right? It says, I don't want to go up anymore. Now it's time to sell. Now it's time to continue to create that pattern, because even if we only looked at this side of it, right? I can draw it again. Even if we only looked at this side of it, right? We see that we know that we expected the market to come back down once it hit that point. But what happened? It actually broke structure, right? It actually broke structure and continued to climb. And it was almost creating a new pattern here. But then what happened? It broke structure. Why? Because we have all these blue averages and we have this blue cloud. And again, if you see more blue, right, we know it's a buying market. We know it's a buying market. So it's nice to have several areas of support and resistance because we know that the market could come down here, right? We know that it could come to, I would say 0.10 and buy, right? But then we also know that it can come to 0.60 and sell. And we know that if it doesn't buy at this point, right, if it's not going to continue that upward trend, then it's going to drop down, and our next opportunity to buy will be at 892, right? That's why it's so important to be able to recognize that V or that W or that M, because you'll always know where the market is going to go next, right? You'll always know where the market is going to go next. So based on this markup and based on our peaks and valleys and our ups and downs, if the market gets to around 010, you probably could get in for a 1 minute buy, right? And if you guys do take that trade idea, you do get into the trade, please let me know. And we know that if the market pushes up to 060, we will be looking for a sell. So let's just come back and see. Currently it's at 023. I will be waiting for, and I'll just drop this in the chat as well, 010 or lower, right, for a potential buy, because that was a strong area of support. And then we have 060 or higher, right? And this is in the chat, right? If you guys missed it, 060 or higher for a potential sell, right? So now we just wait. We don't really want to get in between. Now you can do that if you do a smaller analysis, which is again why I like the Liberty Scanner. You can take it down to 1 minute and you can see, right? You can see that pattern here. So you do have another area, and I'm just going to use a different color line, right? We do have another area of resistance right there. So we could potentially also sell right around 036. Right? We could potentially sell around 036, but as we can see, we see more blue than red, right? So this is a buying market right now. For this short period of time, it's buying, but you do have an opportunity to sell based on where price was resisted at before, right? And you'll see this on every strategy. It's just different indicators. It's just different indicators. So again, we're waiting for let me drop this other potential trade I did in the chat as well, 036 or higher, right? That's a potential sell on a 1 minute time frame. On a M1 analysis, I mean, right? So if this makes sense, right, and it'll make more sense when we actually get into the trade. I'll go back to that screen in 1 second. I'm trying to drop this in the chat. All right, there we go. So let's see where we at. Right, so we're at 026. We know that 036 is a potential sell, but we also know that this is a buying market. So you can use discretion. You can take that trade idea, or you can wait until it gets to the higher area of resistance, which is a little bit stronger, right? So let's see what happens, right? This is my demo account, so I don't mind taking risks to demonstrate how our analysis translates to the real market. So if you are going to take that lower trade idea, please let me know when you get in. If you did get in when it pushed up a little bit higher, you would have seen that you would be in profit right now. So we're going to wait it out. We see buyers have a strong hold in the market using the, I always forget what this is called. I think it's called, let me see, Market Watch. Yeah, it's called the Market Watch. So we just got to practice some patience here. Wait for that big push up, right? Wait for that big push up. We need about 7 more points on the market. We're only using the last 3 digits. And we'll be able to see if it was valid or not, right? If it was valid or not. Now, another thing you can do is set pending trades, meaning you know what the entry point is. You set up everything. So when the market reaches that point, you don't have to sit there and wait for it. It's automatically going to put you in the trade. Okay, I'm not going to rush it. I could have took that trade, but I'm going to wait. If you guys are in, please let me know. And in this business, we like to say patience pays. And there's nothing quicker than making money in 1 minute. I don't think anything in the world is quicker than that. So this is a very lucrative skill to have. Like, I don't think it's anywhere quicker in the world where you can make $70 in 1 minute, right? Unless you are investing in some type of market. Because money really is out here multiplying. So we can see the market is in a little bit of a stuck phase. You can always come back to your chart and see if you should lower your resistance. And as long as these wicks are touching it, that's fine. But again, I'm not going to be impatient at all. But that is something you can do. We still waiting for that same old entry point. But in the meantime, let me know if you guys get into that trade. And I'm going to move on to the next strategy, actually. So the next strategy is simple scalper, right? And simple scalper looks a little bit different. It has a little bit more things on the chart. But what I still want you guys to notice, no matter what strategy we're using, right? I really want you to notice that the market will sell. It will come down. It will buy, right? It will come down. It will sell, right? It'll buy, sell, buy, right? No matter what, it's always going to be doing that same thing. So you'll always, once you can recognize this, whether the indicators are on your chart or not, you'll always have some solid entry points, right? And again, you don't have to draw it out just like that, but if you need to do that, you can. There's a bunch of tools over here you can use, including one that does let you connect the dots like that. So of course, I'm just going to put my horizontal lines where I see no candle activity above, right, and no candle activity below. And again, it is recommended that you have more than one of these so that if the market does break out of where you analyzed, you already know where it's about to go, right? So here we go. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 indicators on this strategy, so it's a little bit different. Oh, I gotta zoom back in, right? So it's a little bit different. So with this one, the indicators that we use to track the price are the Bollinger Bands, right? And the Bollinger Bands consist of this thick red line. They consist of this, oh wait, y'all, it should be on AUD, CAD, sorry. Always check your currency pair. Just analyzing the whole wrong thing. But I'm gonna just do the same thing. I'm gonna draw my ups and downs, tracing those highs and lows, right? I'm gonna put my horizontal lines. I'm gonna put my horizontal lines where I have those, I just call them peaks and valleys. I don't know why. We're gonna clear that off. So when you're using this strategy, pretty much it's 4 different indicators. You have the Bollinger Bands, which is the top line, this bottom line, and this thin red line. Now the Bollinger Bands literally act as rubber bands, keeping the market in place. So you'll notice that once the candles start touching that upper red line, the market is going to be ready to push back down, right? So I'm gonna just scroll a little bit in the market so you can see that when the candles touch that top line, the market essentially says get back into place. And when it touches that bottom line, the market says get back into place. And you never really see the candles going outside of those lines. I like to think about the candles as cars, right? And then these are like the sides of the roads, right? Anytime you start drifting to the side of the road, you're automatically going to adjust to come back down, right? And the same thing, anytime you start drifting too far to this side, you're going to adjust to come back to your lane, right? If that makes sense, just drop some 7s in the chat. Okay, awesome. So once you see that the candles are, if it depends on which line they pushing up on, but if you see that the candles are pushing up close to that top line, that's letting you know, all right, I should be looking for a sell, right? And if you see your candles pushing up on that bottom line, you know, okay, I should be looking for a buy. So on our previous candle, right, let me just zoom in. On our previous candle, we can see that the candle was pushing up on that red line. And then what happened? We got a sell candle, right? And that price was around 0.35, right? But I like to add a few points just to give myself some cushion. So you can say anywhere between 0.35 and 0.40, right? You have a potential for a sell, right? Now, the second indicator that is used here, let me just make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. I'm just change the color of it, make it a little darker, and then make it a little bigger, right? These purple dots, right? These are another trend indicator. If you see that the purple dot is above the candle, it's telling you that, well, let me just say, if you see the candle below the purple dot, it's telling you that price is currently below trend, right? It's below average, and it's probably going to be selling, right? Which is why this would have been a nice sell candle. Versus if you see the blue candle, which is a buy signal, above the purple dot, you know you'll be looking for buy, right? Then you have these lines down here, and this is pretty simple. You pretty much want the color of the line to correspond with the color of the candle. So if it's a blue candle, you want to see a blue line. That's just giving you two confirmations that the market is buying. If you see a red candle, right, we see the dot above, we see a red line, and then this was a sell candle, right? So it's pretty, you're just doing color coding. If you know the difference between red and blue, right? If you know the difference between above trend, below trend, right? And what these simple shapes are trying to tell you, then you really can understand this and you can do this on your own. It's very, very, very simple, right? Now, of course, we have these last indicators down here. If you see more blue, that's giving you more confirmation to buy. If you see more red, right? Like this is the perfect example. Let me see. Okay, perfect. Look, if you see more red, you know you will sell, right? We see all this red, red, more red than anything. But again, you focus on the current candle based off of the previous support and resistance. So in this case, we know that if the market gets to 0.35, between 0.35 and 0.40, we can sell, right? But then you also have the option to do a smaller analysis to find the even tighter entry point. But look at this. This is cool, right? We switch down to the 1 minute and the area of resistance is the same. And I'm going to just draw it out for you so that it makes sense. And then we're going to take a trade idea off of this, right? So we have it price starting at a buy. It came up, right? It sold right there, right? And then it bought. And then we see price literally has a hard time getting past that 0.35, right? If you guys can see that price is having a hard time getting past 0.35. All these candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For the last 10 minutes, price has been doing the same thing, right? If you can see that, drop some sevens in the chat. That's how we also know that that's a good place to sell. All right, awesome. And now, since we're also on a smaller time frame, we can add an additional horizontal line here, right? Because we do see a little pattern here. And if you want to mark up your charts on a different time frame, just make sure you change the color so you can know, okay, my black is my 5-minute analysis, my green is my 1-minute analysis, and that'll also help you manage your risk as well, because you know the 1-minute analysis is going to be very quick. It's going to be tricky. If you miss the move, you just miss the move. But you know your 5-minute analysis are going to be a little bit more stable. So according to this analysis, right, we have, again, 0.35 or higher for a potential sell, right? But that's also the same thing that we had on our web slinger strategy, right? 0.36 or higher, right? So if you guys are seeing the connection between the strategies, it's just literally identifying those repeated highs and lows. Just drop some sevens in the chat, right? Because we're getting the same conclusion on a completely different strategy. A same conclusion on a completely different strategy. And of course, we have the opportunity to buy around 998 or lower, right? And I'll just drop that in the chat because that's the only update. Because we still have our 010 or lower for a buy. Now we have 998 or lower for a potential buy, right? So not only do we have 2 trade ideas for a sell, but we have 2 trade ideas for a buy. And we only came to this conclusion by analyzing 2 different strategies. So again, it's nice to have one strategy that you like. You can stick to it. You can find as many areas of support and resistance as you want, or you can just cross-check your work against multiple strategies and then find even more opportunities to get into the trade or even more opportunities to set up your pending orders. So let's just go back and check and see where the market is at. Is it at that 0.36 area? It looks like it's staying in the same zone. So of course, like I said, you do have the option to play with these as long as your candles are not above that line. It's pretty much valid. So we have another, if I lowered it, it will be 0.29, right? 0.29 or higher for that sell and 998 for that buy. Okay, there we go. So it's 0.31, right? So okay, there we go. So I took the trade at 029, right, which was the second entry point. I took it for 1 minute. Currently in profit, right, by 9 points. If you guys did get into this trade, just drop your entry point and how long you did get into that trade, because, and look at this beautiful 10, 12 points in profit, which is nice, right? We have 35 seconds left. Let's see what happens. Because we are still waiting for this market to get to 036 and 060. So don't forget about that. The market definitely has the energy to do that, and it will do that. So don't be fooled by these drops, but do take advantage of it. All right, awesome. So we have 032 at 3 minutes. You should definitely be in profit right now. I have about 15 seconds left in my trade, as you guys can see. It's still looking like it's in profit, but anything can happen. But we just gonna wait it out and see. We're gonna hashtag trustourtrade.com, and look at that. We cleared by a beautiful 9 points. If you were into that trade and you cleared, just go ahead and drop valid, right? We're not gonna drop clear. We're gonna drop valid in the chat because we know our trade ideas were valid. And then again, we do have the option to get into that buy, right, at 010 or lower, right? We've marked that up on 2 strategies, right? We can buy at 998, anywhere between 998 and 010. So it's currently at 017. This is way below our 036 entry. So we know the market is in it was at that 023 area for a long time. That 026 area, I mean. So we need a little bit of a push down. We know for a fact it has the potential to go down to 998. But let's see if it bounces off of our 010 entry, right? If you did take that trade or you would have gotten in, you would have been 10 points in profit, right? And you don't ever feel like you missed the trade idea. Because you have several entry points, you have several different opportunities to get into this trade. So again, we may be able to sell again at that 029 area because it's still a valid area of resistance. Now let's see, right? I got in a little low at 027, right? Is the market going to have the big push up now? We'll see. Or is it going to drop back down and finally reach our area of support, right? So I did take a second trade at 027. Anything can happen at this point. We know where the market's trying to go. We know where it's been before. We had no folder on this currency pair, so we know that it's going to be pretty consistent, right? This is why I did the demonstration at the beginning. If you have a yellow folder or no folder at all, you can expect the market to be consistent on what you analyze. So let's see if we get into this buy, right? I got into the buy at 009, right? But I know that the market is trying to go to 998, right? So it's not that I missed the entry. It's not that my analysis is wrong. It's just that you have 2 options right now. Okay, look, it dropped below 998. So I took one trade at 991, right? And then I took another trade at 009, right? Because these are 2 areas of support that I noticed on my chart. Now, I would love for it to clear above 009, right? I would love to have that happen, but we're going to see. We are going to see. So I have about 15 seconds left in both these trades. Unless it shoots back up with the quickness, it's looking like, I don't know, sellers is pretty strong right now. But if you went for 3 minutes, you might be able to bounce back up. This on a 1 minute was not the go, right? But shout out to the demo account because we can see, all right, that didn't work. And Margaret, also, did you clear your trade? I'm not sure if that was 3 minutes. Okay, awesome. That is good. So we see that we got spiked out of the trades, but we don't want to be mad. We just want to come back and we want to see what happened. And then we can literally see what happened. The market, this was where we were supposed to buy at, right? On a 1 minute. But we can see that the market broke out of there to come back to an even lower area of support, which we can see here, right? If I was to draw it out for y'all, we will have that pattern. Sorry, y'all. We will have that pattern within this green. And we can see that now within this, right, within these candles, we can now see that 998 is no longer a place to buy, but a place to sell, right? And then 947 will be that new area of support. So your analysis may be off, right, if you rush through it. But if you take the time to say, okay, what am I seeing on my 1 minute chart? What am I seeing on my 5 minute chart? Then you would just clear more trades. Because if we would have came in here and saw this candle, right, the previous candle, we would have said, okay, we know that it's actually going to drop lower than that, and we should be looking at our second area of support. If that makes sense, just drop some threes in the chat, right? So I just want to remind you guys that all the strategies have the candles in common. The only thing that changes are the indicators, right? But if you take the time to mark up your charts, whatever strategy looks best to you, whatever is easier to understand, that is how you'll make your most profits. So we're going to move on to the next strategy, which is Simple Scalper 2.0. Oh, that is Simple Scalper 2.0, y'all. Okay. So the first one we did was Simple Scalper 2.0. This is the original Simple Scalper. And this one is pretty similar. You're going to notice the same Bollinger Bands. So I'm not going to go over that again. And you're also going to notice these parabolic stars, which is telling you whether price is above or below the trend. Now, the only two new things we have here to look at are the Stochastic and the RSI. I do get confused because they look the same, but they're typically doing the same thing. And these indicators are very easy to read. It's very simple. If the line is facing up, the market is going up, right? And we can see all the confirmations here with the blue candle being above the trend, right? It's above the purple dot. We have the blue volume bar, right? And we also have the Stochastic and the RSI facing up. So we would have been in the clear for that buy simply by looking at those indicators. Now, just like every other strategy, you have the same pattern, right? It's going to sell down to a certain point, and it's going to buy up to a certain point. Then it's going to sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, right? So once you're able to identify that, again, don't forget your horizontal line. And again, you can put as many of these as you want on as many time frames. So even if you want to analyze the 15-minute chart to see what it was doing, the 1 minute chart to see what it was doing, right? The 1 hour chart, depending on what you're trading. So there we go. We put as much of these lines as we want. I'm going to do it on the 5 minute. Oh, this is the 1 hour. And it's Euro USD. All right, AUDCAD. And I got to clear this off. All right, there we go. But it's the same thing, y'all. That's the point. Okay. I'm just repeating the same process on a different strategy. All right, there we go. So that's on the 5 minute. I'm going to do the same thing on the 1 minute just to get some more entry points. Okay, it's looking kind of the same on the 1, which is good. Do we have any smaller areas of support and resistance? Yeah. So I'm going to just put the lines in here. Remember that the green is for the 1 minute, but you can use any of your analysis to get into the trade. Okay, then I see there. There we go. So based on this, we know that, let's look at our confirmations. And this is on the 1 minute. We have a red candle. Well, it's a blue candle now. There's 30 seconds left on this, but let's just say we have a red candle. We have it below the dot. That's 2 confirmations for a sell. We have a red volume bar. We have this line facing down and this line. Well, it was just facing down. So in that case, if the candle was all red and you had all the sell indicators, you would go by the sell price. So when price pushes back up to Well, I probably could put another line right here. And the more lines, the better. It's just patience at that point. So let me put another one right there. And I'm just highlighting this small pattern. Like you can see as many of these things as you want. Put as many lines as you want, because the whole purpose is to identify that WM pattern. No matter how big or how small, is letting you know what's the area of support and what's the area of resistance. So in this case, we have about 987, right? 987 or higher for a sell. And we have the confirmation on this small trend for the last 5 or 6 minutes. So 987 or higher sell. We don't really have too many confirmations for a buy, but if we were going to buy, we'll be buying at 967, right? It'll be 967 or lower for a buy, 987 or higher for a sell. So let's see. Oh, I almost missed my entry. All right, 968. Right, so I took the trade I did at 968 based on my 1 minute analysis, right? We see 967. The market could either push us up to 987 or it could actually respect our analysis, right? And it can drop down. So let's see. Currently the market's at 967. It was 968 or higher for a sell. And if it does go above 968, then we already know that the next place is going is 987, right? We already know that because we took 5 minutes to draw some lines on our chart. So if you did actually take this trade, if you did get into this trade and you were able to enter around 968, you would be in profit, right? We have about 15 seconds left. Let's see, is the market going to stay in this zone, or is it going to try to reach the next zone, right? So it's about 10 seconds left. It's very close. We see that area of resistance is really, the market's not playing, right? Okay, but we still clear by the skin of our teeth. Resistance was pretty strong. So if you did get into that trade, please let me know what your entry point was and how long you are in that trade for. So now we can already see the market is dropping down, right? It's dropping down. We're still getting sells. Look, we have a red candle. We have a red volume bar. The line is facing down. The line is facing down. And we still have that 968 as a strong area of resistance, right? So that trade idea is actually still valid. Let's go back to the 5 minutes. Yeah, that trade idea is actually still valid, right? Which one is this? Yep, it's still valid, right? 965 and 1 minute left. Okay, so you are currently in profit right now. Margaret is making all the monies tonight. She's making all the monies. So you have 1 minute left. You should be around the 30-second mark. And I'm going to just keep my fingers crossed for this trade because it definitely is trying to get back to 987. We're going to wait for this trade. Okay, you in the clear. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds. Whoa, that was very close, Margaret. Valid. Woo, we got a valid in the chat. That was very close. I was over here like, hold up. Hold up. So, all right. So, you guys, as we can see, all these strategies have the same things in common, right? They're literally going to show you the same thing. It's just, what do you really feel like looking at, right? What do you feel like looking at? Do you feel like looking at these indicators because you can clearly glance and see, all right, this is facing up, this is facing up, blue, 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 buy, right? Or do you like looking at the web slinger because you can look at the red cloud, red lines, red candle, sell? Cool. Now, if you guys are following along, right, and you've been able to clear off at least one of these strategies tonight, just go ahead and drop some 7s in the chat. All right, awesome. So we do just have one more strategy to get through, right? We do just have one more strategy to get through, and it's called pickpocket. And we are just following the same process when it comes to this, right? The first thing you want to do is make sure you're in the right currency pair, right? That's the first thing you want to do. We're going to look at it at M5 first. The next thing you want to do is to identify your M, W, or V pattern, however you see it. You want to look for a low point, a high point, a low point, a high point, a low point, a high point, low point, high point, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. All right, that's the first thing you want to do. And then once you do that, now you want to add your horizontal line so that you can actually have your entry point, right? So we're going to put one there. And we're really only putting it where we see those pointy points because that's clearly where we should be buying and selling. Right? And remember, you can do as many of these as you need to, wherever you see candle activity. And then, of course, you can come down to your 1 minute. You can do the same exact thing. Let me play this. You can come down to your 1 minute. You can do the same exact thing. It pretty much looks the same on a 1 minute. Add your additional horizontal line. Add your additional horizontal lines if you need to. I'm gonna just add a few. Don't forget to change the color. All right, there we go. Now with this strategy, you have your Don Chinian channel, which is similar to the Bollinger Bands. Again, it will act as like a rubber band. So if you see candles are pushing up on that top line, right? And it's a straight line, that's important. It's pushing up on the top line and it's a straight line. That's letting you know that's a good place to sell. Vice versa, if you see candles pushing up on that bottom line and it's a straight line, you know that it's a good place to buy. The second indicator on this chart is the EMA, right? So if it's blue, the candles will be above it, right? If it's blue, the candles will be above it. If it's red, right, the candles will be below it, letting you know price is below trend, right? And you'll have more opportunities to sell. If it's blue and it's above, you'll have more opportunities to buy. As you can see, that is true. So here we go. So right now we have a potential sell. You can even move this down, right? You have a potential sell around, I would say 980, right? 980 or higher for a sell, and 960 or lower for a buy. But that's also very similar to what we just had on the last one, right? It was 968 or lower, and it was 987 or higher, right? So it's pretty much in the same area, but you do get maybe a tighter analysis with pickpocket. So maybe you'll want to use pickpocket and simple scalper, right? The more confirmations, the better. So again, we're looking at 955 or lower for a potential 1 minute buy, and we're looking at 980 or higher for a potential sell. So let's just see, 955 or lower for a buy. So I'm gonna wait for it to drop. And if it does drop lower than 955, then we know that the next place that is trying to go is to 945, right? So anywhere between 945 and 955 will be valid. So let's see. Let's see this drop. I'm waiting for the last three numbers to be 955 or lower. And if you guys do get into this trade, please do drop your entry points and how long you will be into the trade. All right, there we go. Oh man, I missed it. That 952 was nice. Oh man. I tried to get in that 954, but it put me in at 959. I am still in profit, but I'm gonna just keep my fingers crossed because personally my entry is, oh, you said the payout dropped. It did drop to 56%. All right, so if you are trading, I'm using my demo account, so it's fine. But we can see that so far the entry point is valid, right? 955 or lower is valid. I did get in a little high, but again, the market currently is above. As long as it clears above 955, right? You know that that was a good trade idea. This entry point was high, so that's fine. The payout did drop to 56%. So if you did not get into this trade, do not get into this trade. All right, we got 2 seconds left, and we got another valid trade. So that's amazing. The trade cleared, even though the payout dropped. So we know that what the Liberty Scanner is telling us is correct. We know that we don't have to do too much. All we have to do is understand what we're looking at. And even so, if you don't understand what you're looking at, you can always have the HFX Swipes app, which essentially pushes predetermined trade ideas for HFX to your phone. And if Pocket Option is your broker, you can add them as pending trades and still be clearing even when you're not at your computer. So I really hope that you guys did enjoy this session tonight. Let's just look at our record, right? We did 1, 2. Well, this trade doesn't count because that was just an example. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades, and we cleared 4. So we are 4 wins, right? 2 losses, and that's amazing. That is amazing. So overall, we would have came out with, let's just say 210 plus 56 is 266. Well, we would have had a $66 profit because we took these 2 losses here, right? $66 profit in the matter of 6 minutes. So that's not bad. That's really not bad. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this session, just go ahead and drop some sevens in the chat. If you do have any questions for me, just go ahead and drop those in the chat as well, and I will answer them for the next 5 minutes. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to ask any questions that you may have. Right? And if nobody has any questions, I just want to thank you guys for coming to this class tonight. Hopefully you were able to take some of these trade ideas and make money. Hopefully you did get a better understanding of how the foreign exchange market works when it comes to high frequency trading. If you are interested in learning how to do this on your own or having access to the IM Academy products, you can just send me a direct message on Instagram at Money Mantra Cha. That's MONEYMANTRACHA. Just send me a message and say HFX, and I'll send you everything you need to know. Or you can visit ourcosmicclub.com and you can pretty much view a presentation and enroll yourself. So, ourcosmicclub.com, I'll just show you really quickly for anyone interested in learning this skill. So, this is what you will see on the homepage. You just want to go ahead and click Learn More, right? You want to click Learn More, and you'll be able to learn more about what it is that we do, see other testimonials that people say, and even meet some of the other leaders who are on the team who have other trading skills and just different things in general to help you make more money. So again, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time on The Money Mantra. Good night.